Joining us today is Dean Thornton, Digital Marketing Specialist at United SEO. Welcome back, Dean.
Cheers, Raj.
Today we are talking about an area that you know very well and you spend a lot of time talking to new clients about, which is relevance when it comes to your website, particularly with regards to satisfying the needs of Google and the human that's also using the website. Why are these the two most important forces?
Well, firstly, you need to make sure that obviously your website is built in a Google-friendly way. So what I mean by that is when Google's crawlers crawl your website, they need to understand exactly what it is your business offers to ensure that they're going to be putting it in front of the right businesses and customers. Second to that, you really do need to make sure that your website is user-friendly. So when your customers are coming onto the website, you need to make sure that you have a very quick loading time so they do not become impatient. Your website needs to be structured in a very good way to make sure that they can find exactly what they need in the quickest amount of time, to make sure that they can see that you can offer exactly what they need.
Now, you've spoken about in the past that Google's customer is also your customer. Google is there to make sure that the customer finds relevant websites. So between these two forces, is it more important that you optimize the website technically for Google or more so for the end user, for the customer, and why?
I would say number one, you need to make sure that your website is Google friendly. So us as a business is a client of Google's and the individual is a customer. Google will always prefer the customer rather than the client because it's the customer that's going to them on a daily basis. Now, for example, if your website wasn't built in a Google friendly way or a user friendly way, the customer will stop using Google as a search engine. It will go to Yahoo or Bing. But also, if you don't build your website in a Google friendly way, the human being is never going to see your website because Google would never prefer it amongst others.
What happens then if your website is maybe not the most relevant, not the highest ranking, but it's got the highest ease of use for a human being? How does Google then decide which website to present on the front page?
Again, I've seen a lot of websites in the past. I speak to clients on a daily basis and I understand exactly what it is they offer to the human eye, right? But Google doesn't work in a visual way. They can't understand pictures. They can't understand content just by visually looking at it. They depend on a technically sound website with pages, title tags, meta tags. This is what they look at to understand. So your website can be informative to the customer, but it may not be informative to Google. So that's where we come into play.
Well, that was going to be my next point, which is, I guess, what role does the audit play then in terms of benchmarking where the website is? We've spoken in the past on previous episodes about the technical side of the audit, but surely there's got to then be a human-friendly side of the audit as well.
Yeah, so when I'm speaking to clients, what I do firstly is I put myself into the customer's shoes. So I'll visit their website as if I was a paying customer and I would make my own impression on that website and give my feedback. But like I said, we're also not just talking about human beings here, we're talking about robots. So then what I do is I put the URL into one of our auditing tools and that will give me feedback. And what this auditing tool is basically a checklist of all of the things that Google wants you to follow in order to be Google friendly. So it could be title tags, it could be meta tags, the sitemap is missing, the robots.txt, or it could be duplicated content. Now, when we get this report, it gives us a great understanding as to how much work is involved and how much work we need to implement, but also more importantly, how long it's going to take for us to make those changes to see the positive results.
So you're also using the results of that report to figure out what would be the most appropriate scope for a new client. And then once you come up with the right solution, how much flexibility does a potential new client have in terms of allocating budget? Can they start off with half of the recommendations in your report? Can they be aggressive and do more things than even the report recommends? Because it's at that point, I'm sure, where you need to figure out the match from a financial point of view as to what's going to help get the results the quickest for that new client.
Yeah, so I think I've said this before in one of our videos that ultimately you're not ranking a website. So it's not a case of your whole website having to be Google friendly. You optimize pages on the website. So there may be pages that they don't want visibility for. And then when you've implemented the sitemap, you can then decide which pages you want to be audited. So if they have a low investment in the beginning, that's no problem. We put them on the starter package, we get them somewhere. When they start seeing the results and the improvement from that investment, they'll be more confident and more comfortable giving us a higher investment to start optimizing other aspects of the website as well. So yes, you can start gradually and improve as you go on.
Yeah, I think that's a point that you should always bring back, actually, that you're looking at SEO from a per page perspective rather than a website perspective, because if you're new to this, it could be quite daunting to think about how do I make my website SEO friendly as opposed to the pages that are offering the most relevant products and services.
Absolutely. Yeah, correct.
Amazing, Dean. I think that was great food for thought, a great conversation starter. If anybody wants to find out more information, head over to United SEO's website, unitedseo.ae. Thanks, Dean, for your time. We'll speak to you on the next episode.
You're welcome. Thanks, Raj.